I want to get to today's tough question. It's brought to you by Viles Automotive Group right there on Callahan, your automotive home, because they want, they need, and they appreciate your business. And man, Viles Automotive Group is fantastic in that they care about your customer experience. Their reputation matters, and they will absolutely make sure that you have a great car, great selection. And if you ever need service, you can go there and you can absolutely know that if your car needs service, they're going to do what they need. They're not going to have some surprise bill. So it's time for today's tough question, and I want Amanda and Caleb's input. I've got some pretty strong thoughts on this, so here we go.
We do our research. Have you done your research?
We're working like heck.
Today's tough question. What's the real debate?
You sipping my Soupe Guadalupe?
Exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker and Amanda LaFratta.
You drinking my sake kimosabi?
Oh my God.
All righty, here it is. Pretty simple. Should Jeremy Banks continue to be a Vol? And Amanda is the absolute best at phrasing that. I think that Josh Heupel said on Monday, confirmed everything that we reported. And that was, there was an altercation between him and Hendon Hooker, and that's why he was not a factor on Saturday. So I get it. Josh Heupel, I get that you don't want to air your dirty laundry and totally understand all that, but he didn't have a flu. He didn't have an elbow injury, as had also been reported. He was involved in an altercation that most likely stemmed from NIL, but that had to do with just something silly where it was almost like somebody's trying to pick a fight. And I've been told more and more about that. So I just want to ask you, Amanda, how do you want to phrase this? And then I'll get your all's take. We could say absolutely not. Yes, he deserves another chance. How do you want to phrase it? Because let's remember, this is the second time that he's created an issue. The last time was in the back of a police car.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we did today's tough question on Monday, we did that, should Jeremy Banks, what should Josh Heupel do to Jeremy Banks? And a lot of people, surprising to me, a lot of people said that he'd already been punished. Like that was enough. That he had set out at USC and that was it. So
well, I've also been told that there was an unexcused absence from practice early in the week. I don't feel comfortable reporting that. That maybe he got locked out of his dorm and locked himself out with his cell phone. Anyway, with everything on the line, Jeremy Banks was a huge, monstrous distraction. So we even know more. So we're somewhat repeating today's tough question from Monday. What do you say if you were given those four choices? Would you keep him on the team, Amanda?
No, I wouldn't keep him on the team, but I was also ready to kick him off the team on Monday. Agreed. After learning what he did with the whole Hendon Hooker situation. You can't divide the locker room like that. And for him to do something like that means that he has a total lack of maturity. And he's cancerous, in my opinion, to the team. I mean, he's cancerous. Anytime you see that in the NFL, it's always an issue. I mean, like I said, Antonio Brown, people like that in the NFL never work out because teams don't want them. Like, look at, Odell Beckham can't stay on a team longer than a year, aside from the Giants, because teams just don't want them. So I wouldn't have, after the 2019 thing, honestly, if I were a coach, I'd have kicked him off the team. I know Heupel wasn't here, so coming back, he probably couldn't do anything. But after this, yeah, he's gone.
Caleb, your thoughts?
This is hard for me because some of it goes into, there's a lot more I think that I need to know, like, what was it over NIL money? If we think Jeremy Banks was mad that Hendon Hooker was getting more NIL money than him, welcome to the real world, Jeremy Banks. Like, guess what? Some people are going to make more money than you. You should, like, if you're making NIL money, you have your opportunities to make them yourself. Don't worry about another man getting his bag. And so it's, I mean, if it's over that, then yeah, I probably kick him off. I mean, I kind of disagree somewhat, because I would say I get the cancerous thing, but I mean, it doesn't matter this year because it's out. But, you know, like Antonio Brown and OBJ, the Bucks and the Rams did get a Super Bowl out of them before they became, I mean, before Antonio Brown became a cancer, he was there enough to get a Super Bowl for the Bucks. But I get your point. And the reason I'm more interested in this story is because do we think the whole defense quit last weekend over this? Do we think that had something to do with it?
I want to address that too. Okay, so let me lead into that with this. He should not wear a Tennessee uniform again. Done. End of story. There was too much on the line. That is not a freshman who made a mistake. That is a guy who's been around the program for 5 years. He absolutely created a distraction. As for the defense quitting, no, I don't think it did. I think what happened is all those stunts and twists that we've complimented Tim Banks on, all of those are now somewhat thrown out the door, because when you do those sorts of things, you leave a gap potentially open if somebody makes a mistake. And I don't think you're as comfortable doing those things without one of your key players in the front seven, and that's Jeremy Banks. So I don't think the defense quit. I do think there is potential for this team to be somewhat split, and I think we're going to know really, really early at Vanderbilt. I think we're going to know if this team is split in terms of some are for Banks, some were for Hooker. But the bottom line is done. I mean, you have a couple of things left to play for. You don't have the college football playoff, by the way, Tennessee 10, and you don't have the college football playoff to play for. Please hit the like button and subscribe, especially hit that like button, because we want to share our content to as many people as possible, because I believe this is important. Tennessee can still win 10 games in the regular season. That sounds insane. If I would have told you that in August, you would have said, Dave, are you drinking bourbon under the table while you're doing the show? I wasn't. That can still happen. Tennessee can still go to a respectable bowl game. Let me tell you right now that if Tennessee does not come out and play at least C plus B minus, they can get beat by Vanderbilt. If they have team chemistry issues, and Caleb, let me go to you. If they have team chemistry issues, that can undermine a Tennessee team that is more talented than Vanderbilt, that is playing for bowl eligibility. He would not be on the team. He would not be a part of bowl practice. As a matter of fact, I bet you that he skips out on bowl practice anyway to prepare for the NFL. See you, Jeremy. Truly appreciate it. If you ever want to come back and get your graduate degree, or you want to be a doctor in anything, that door is open. Tennessee's fund will pay for it all. But the bottom line is, playing days, see ya. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm on your side too on that. I'm on the kick him off the team too. And I'm going to throw in one of the other reasons I'm kind of on the kick him off the team. And this is kind of a personal note for me as a member of the media, because I feel like I might have been one of the people he responded to when I wrote on Sunday that Josh Heupel seemed to subtly confirm the rumors on the Saturday evening post-game press conference. Jeremy Banks put out an Instagram story last night when he said it wasn't about no conflict. And then we hear what Josh Heupel said Monday. And then I'm like, Jeremy Banks, you clearly lied in that Instagram story. You just straight up lied. Like, it was clearly about a conflict. And if you even wanted to try to get back on the team or try to get back in good graces, maybe you should have just stayed quiet and not tried to, I don't know. I take that a little bit personally, because and not just me, but other people who probably wrote about it too on Sunday. It's like, you were insinuating that we weren't being truthful about something or that we were inaccurate, and that just wasn't the case.
Well,
And
and I can tell you through even more sources since Monday that there undoubtedly was. I knew it on Monday, but there undoubtedly was an altercation. So whether it's about NIL or a parking spot, the days before a play-in game to the college football playoff, Amanda, that's not the day to have an altercation. And I'm also going to give Hendon Hooker the benefit of the doubt. I mean, goodness gracious, as fantastic of a young man as he's been, are you telling me for real that he was a big part of the problem? Who do you think the instigator was if you had a bet a mortgage payment on, as I say far too often? But
Probably not the kid that is in a comic book as a superhero Christian. Probably going to go with the other guy who in 2019 said he'd like to kill the police. The instigator, I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, and we got corrected on that at one point. He didn't say he was going to try to kill the police. He said he was from a place where they shoot police. You're right. And I even responded back to that, and I said, "Listen, dude, we're kind of splitting hairs at that point." And he agreed because, yeah, when you're saying I'm from some place that we kill cops, and I should have done something different, and all that, this, whatever. No, I'm sorry. I mean,
really was a bad look for my hometown when he did that. He's from Memphis, and
yes,
he did not help things. Also, well, he's from Cordova though, which for those of you who don't know, that was like an unincorporated suburb of Memphis for a long time.
it's
So
not the toughest town and we're not talking about the Bronx. I mean, is it? The
well,
area.
if you're okay, neighborhoods in Memphis matter. Where he was from, no, because he was from Cordova. If he was from South Memphis, or if he was from Whitehaven or parts of North Memphis, we could have this or Orange Mound, we could have this conversation. He was from Cordova. That's an unincorporated part of East Memphis. They're not shooting cops out in Cordova, guys. And so
okay, so let's pretend for a second that he is a part of the team into in the bowl season. We know the college football playoff is done. Again, hit that thumbs up button, please. We appreciate it. It helps us share the program. So let's pretend for just a moment that we're talking about a guy who doesn't go to the NFL, but feels like it's. I mean, I will go ahead and predict he's not going to go to the bowl game. He's going to go to the NFL. So you're going to get a possible distraction the Vanderbilt. And if you do get him for the NFL, the bowl game, what are you really getting? Are you getting a guy that cares? Because listen, if I'm trying to think of some sort of example, if the three of us are tasked by Sports Illustrated to go cover the Super Bowl, and they want to test us out and see how we do covering the Super Bowl, okay? I could promise you that I'm going to bend over backward, and you guys would as well, that if there's some little disagreement, it's not going to blow up 3 days before the coverage.
No.
I mean, it's like,
think about what he didn't just cost a playoff spot. He cost Hooker the Heisman and his season, because I don't think if Tennessee is struggling with South Carolina in the fourth quarter, as they wouldn't have been had this not happened, I don't think Heupel calls that option play. That was kind of a desperation. I need to get something going, and Hooker doesn't slip and mess up his leg. That's on Jeremy Banks too.
yeah, and he, like I said before, I don't think Tennessee's players quit on him and quit because of him, but I do believe firmly that they were uncomfortable with running the same sort of stuff. And the same sort of stuff had to have Jeremy Banks in the right position. And that was obviously something they weren't comfortable doing. Because why else, unless, Amanda, you just thought you could beat Spencer Rattler straight up, which is a possibility. Why else would you not run the same stuff that worked against Florida and Alabama and all of that? Why do you go out and you just play straight up? And then the way that worked out, you didn't get pressure on Spencer Rattler. You gave him confidence. He's able to extend drives. And then those guys, I went back and watched the game last night. They were rubber-legged. They were dead from the season. They were exhausted. Amanda, the second half, they really had no chance.
I don't know if, and I know it's been said like, oh, the defense threw the game. I don't think they threw the game, but I do think that if I were a defensive player on Tennessee's team, I would be really mad at Jeremy Banks right now. You left us out there to, in the trenches, basically taking bullets, and you were gone. You pieced out over something stupid. And I understand that he got in trouble or whatever, but if you're a teammate, then you should be looking out for the team and not just me. No matter if it's NIL, no matter if it's something about push-ups on the power tee, whatever. No matter what it is, you should be there for the team. You weren't there for the team. So whether or not they laid down on purpose or it was just the wrong scheme called, what have you, he's the reason for the loss at South Carolina. He is the reason. Bottom line.
I agree. Caleb?
I don't think they threw it. I have to say it was a middle school baseball team, totally different, but I was on a middle school baseball team where we had two starters get into a fight and both got kicked off the team. And we were first in our city at the time. We didn't win a game the rest of the year. And it wasn't that we quit. Things like that, like when you have your high-profile linebacker and your quarterback get into a fight, let's not act like even if you're trying, the shot can't be weighing on you when you're trying to play.
Agreed.